What's up everyone, Carmon here for another episode of Quick Shift. Today, we'll be rebuilding the Miata shifter. Out of the box, Miatas are known to have some pretty slick shifters, however that shift and feel starts to degrade over time as the plastic bushings wear out. Now there's a bunch of different items you could do to address the shift and feel, including flushing the transmission fluid and changing out the transmission mounts and engine mounts and so forth. However, the easiest item to address first is the shifter itself. In about 20 minutes, you'll have a way more precise feeling shifter. So now that you know what's up, let's get started. So here's the shifter in its current form. As you could tell, there's a ton of play. I have the car in first gear and the shifter still wants to move around quite a bit. Let's fix that. So here's the shifter rebuild kit I went with. It's from R-Speed and they include pretty much everything you need. You have your new shifter bushings and washers and so forth. You have your inner boot and then your outer boot. So your inner boot is basically what's keeping your transmission fluid inside of the shifter tunnel. And then your outer boot is keeping all of the heat and road noise out of the cabin. If yours is currently ripped, you'll probably notice that your transmission tunnel is getting pretty hot and the transmission noise is a little louder than normal. Alright, the first thing I'm going to do is unscrew the shift knob. And that should just come right off. Alright, so next you have to remove 4 screws to get this center console off. So you have one here, one on the opposite side, and then 2 right here. Alright, next you're going to want to take off any type of sound insulation and foam out of here. So as you can see, this boot is completely torn. That's why this transmission tunnel was feeling as hot as it was when driving the Miata. So next I'm going to remove the 4 10mm bolts that are holding on this outer shift boot. Alright, after that we're just going to pull this boot right off. So as you can see, there's a tear in the inner shift boot as well. So that's going to cause some fluid to leak out. Okay, next we'll remove the 3 10mm bolts holding on this inner shift boot. Alright guys, at this point the shifter will pull out. I'm putting on the trusted green gloves because that transmission fluid smells pretty rowdy. Alright, next I'm going to remove the remnants of this gasket right here. And then also we're going to want to get rid of this bushing inside the turret. Nasty. Alright, next we're going to suck out all of the existing shifter fluid inside of the turret. I'm going to use one of these little hand pumps. I'll link it in the description. You get these off Amazon pretty cheap and they come in handy. So next thing we're going to do is take off this inner shift boot. And as you can see, it's already torn, but we're going to want to completely remove that so we could slide everything off. Alright, let's get these existing bushings off. I'll use pliers to pull this bottom one off. And then a pick to get this side one off. There you go. Alright, before I get the new bushings installed, I'm just going to grease them up. I use this grease for pretty much everything. I'll link that as well. I'm just going to apply some of the surfaces so that it slides in a little bit easier. Okay, and then I'm just going to snap them in. Okay, next we're going to put on our new top bushings. So there's 2 in the kit. You'll notice that this one has a little groove. There's a little notch in the shifter turret. So we're not going to use this one on the shifter. We're going to use the other one in the kit. and then there's just these little grooves that we'll want to snap this little spring washer into. You can see. And then we're just going to slide this down. So it sits right here. Next, we'll slide this inner shift boot over this rod and then have it sit basically on top of the ball and then underneath this notch right here. I'm just going to spray some WD-40 over this so it could slide over easier. Next, we're going to put the bushing back into the turret. We're just going to make sure everything's out of there. As you can see, there was a washer in there. Alright, so first I'm going to just put this flat washer in here. And then I have my bushing, and like we did before, I'm just going to put this spring washer in the notches. Like so. And then you're going to want to have this little notch right here in this direction so that it goes under this pull right here. Alright, now I'm going to put in some gear oil. It will not take too much. Okay, now I'm going to drop the shifter back in here. Okay, next we're going to put the 3 10mm bolts that hold this inner shift boot onto the turret. Okay, now we're going to slide the upper shift boot on. Lastly, I'm going to put this insulation back on, and then the center console. And finally, we'll screw the shift knob back on. Alright, let's see how we did. I put the car back into first gear. I'm just going to play with the shifter and see how much play it has. As you can see, it feels a lot more precise. Definitely not as much play as there was before. Fresh. Well guys, just got back in after a test drive with the Miata and the shifter feels mad good. I am just shocked at how much more precise it feels. For $90, you really can't go wrong. So if you haven't rebuilt your shifter yet, I would highly recommend doing so. As an added bonus, the transmission tunnel feels so much cooler now that the insulation is intact. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you guys next time. Peace out.